Ewan.
Hello.
What obvious video game movie is Hollywood ignoring?
So I was going to come in here with a really cool answer, but I decided to avoid doing the cool answer. The cool and correct answer, by the way, is Hades, because the Hades movie would own so much. As an animated film, lean into that kind of animated style, it'd be so great. But as I was thinking through this the other day, I was like, you know what? We haven't really gotten that we need more of, that Hollywood just has a complete dearth of, is the generic corporate origin story movie. I'm talking Ben Affleck's Air. I'm talking that new BlackBerry movie that came out. It's apparently quite good, but I want a generic corporate video game movie. Call it something stupid like Console Wars, right? So that during the formative stages of Xbox and PlayStation, maybe the inside track on how Halo came over from Apple to Xbox and do that kind of stuff. Have a bit where, like, I don't know, you have maybe Jack Black's in it or something, and he's like, I don't know, just some Microsoft guy, and he's there, and then they're looking at the E3 showing for Halo, and he's like, guys, you're going to want to take a look at this, and they all walk in and gather around. The music starts swelling, and it's just like the OG Halo combat of old. I just really want some of that cheese. Get me like just that early kind of Y2K style video game movie origin story about, I forget which number generation of consoles the PS2 and Xbox One was, but you know, the original.
They were different ones.
Yeah, no, the original Xbox.
Xbox.
The way I said it then, Joe, made it sound as if I was saying Xbox One, but I meant the one generation. What was it?
That says more about the Xbox than it does about us.
It does, but yeah, give me some more. Give me just some Y2K. So you can throw in some early 2000s bops in there. Just have a great time. Yeah, that's what we really need. We just need lean into that stupidity. I need all of it. Like, you know, do the inside track on how Fortnite copied PUBG, and I need to see this inside corporate dirt, because we have so many great inside journalistic stories about how video games are made and the drama that comes with them. Let's just go for that. I want that. Just give me the cheese. And it'd be even better if it was like slowly like completely fawning over the brand in question, because I would get to laugh at it even more.
As possible.
Exactly. Like have some inspirational, like I don't know the original Xbox guys, but you know, just make it like full on. Just, you know, and that's how Xbox got made. Like the early 2000s trailers are like, the console that changed the world.
Oh, yeah, God.
Coming this summer, Matt Damon
is
Johnny Xbox. Johnny Xbox, mate. It's gonna happen. Joe,
yes.
What obvious video game movie is Hollywood ignoring?
Well, okay, a couple of very quick honourable mentions. Hard Space Shipbreaker, because I just think that would be cool. And, well, I'm going to say Half-Life, but I'm not going to say Half-Life, because I don't want to see a Half-Life film. I want to make a Half-Life film. Oh. I want to be the guy who does that film. Anyway.
And you're not a Hollywood big shot.
I am called Joe Johnston, though. So, my sort of thesis here is that what seems to work best, right, is games that have a great deal of sort of depth and lore and background to them, but never ones which have been portrayed especially cinematically. You know, because as a game gets more cinematic, let's take the Naughty Dog adaptations. You know, we got The Last of Us, we got Uncharted, both game franchises which are aping cinema, and they do it very well. You know, they're incredibly well put together, they're incredibly well acted, they're incredibly cinematic and compelling. But then the problem is, when you then adapt them, what do you get? You get The Last of Us, and yeah, it's on HBO and it's a good show. It's, you know, it's a good, compelling little show, but it's basically just The Last of Us, but without the gameplay. All you're doing is subtracting an important element of that. So, what's the point? So what you want to do is you want to take something that has all that potential, but has never been presented like that. That's why the Mario Brothers works so well, you know? No, I mean, the latest one, it took something very bare bones and really made something out of it. So this is why I'm gonna plant the flag for Metroid. Yeah, because Illumination have gone, oh, we're gonna make a load more Nintendo movies, you know, Legend of Zelda for some reason, and there were others, but there was no mention of Metroid, and I think that makes no sense, because that is the one of all those sort of tentpole Nintendo franchises. I think Metroid is the one with the most interesting kind of story going on and the most interesting lore behind it, because you've got Samus and her relationship with the Chozo who rescued her, and you've got the creation of the Metroids and the weaponization of them against the X-Parasites. That's all right. It's it's a Commander Keen situation again, but. Yeah, the Metroids, the X-Parasites, the space pirates then weaponizing the Metroids again. There's all this going on. And Metroid has never been kind of presented in that way at all, apart from Metroid Other M, which wasn't very good. But, it's all there. And a film like that, you could make it a lot darker than something like a Mario. And I'm not talking about going down an R-rated route. I'm not saying let's make it actually violent and gritty and bloody, but you can have it as one of those it can be one of those horror movies that's actually still basically kind of family friendly and accessible to anyone, kind of baby's first horror. And I just think you've got an interesting character there in Samus Aran. You've got a really claustrophobic environment that she has to navigate. I just think those games, I think Metroid is Nintendo's best franchise. And it's crying out for that. Last point, Gwendolyn Christie for Samus.
Yes.
Perfect. 7 foot tall action lady. Brilliant.
I can see the thirst bubbling through your skin right there.
You could.
I've really surprised myself with this pick because I don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about Spyro the Dragon, and I definitely have never thought a Spyro the Dragon the movie would be a good idea before, but I can't unshake it now because as good as like Your Last of Us and Your Witcher and that kind of thing are, the most successful video game movie of all time, as we know now, is Super Mario Bros. The movie. It made so much money, as expected. It was huge. So you best believe there are other video game publishers out there right now looking through their back catalogue thinking, how can we have a slice of that pie? How can we nibble on the crust? And Spyro, nowhere near as big as Mario. But it's gonna happen, right? There has gotta be a bunch of movies that follow Super Mario that try to grab that same crowd. It's just how it works. But Spyro could actually be kind of fun. It's a franchise that desperately needs attention. It desperately needs some kind of reboot. And maybe this is a way for the character to re-enter the world after the reignited trilogy, but no new adventures for a very long time. Maybe this is how he finds a new audience. And he's a really interesting character. He can be cool, he can be cute, he can be cocky, he can be lots of different things that appeal to lots of different kinds of kids and really fits in with that for the whole family adventure movie style. It's hard not to visualize sort of like a DreamWorks or whatever CGI Spyro movie working with his really interesting cast of characters and his really unique world and stuff. It just seems so obvious in its own strange way. I'd never considered it before, but now I feel like I'm going to be mad if it doesn't happen. And that's on me. But come on, Activision, you want to.
Dan Durkin.
Yes.
What obvious
What obvious video game movie is Hollywood ignoring? Obvious movie, video game tie-in that Hollywood is ignoring. So I had a couple of picks for this. Mass Effect. So then I was like, maybe Mass Effect would be better as a TV show, so I'm not going to say that. The Darkness.
TV show adaptation movie.
Yeah, well, we're going with movie chat. And then I was like, The Darkness. I think that would be a really cool, like, mob-style, horror, dark, gritty, like, film.
Darkness is a show, yeah.
It's also a game. So then I arrived at, you know what hasn't been made like in a live action adaptation? Halo.
It hasn't.
It's obvious.
It's
How
really
is
strange they haven't done that.
how is Halo not being done in a live action setting? So I was thinking, so Halo, right? There's 3 things. I don't know why I held 4 fingers up. 3 things. 3 things. So you have to follow the story of the game, the first game, because it's incredible. Okay. Master Chief doesn't take his helmet off. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Master Chief doesn't have sex with anybody. Okay. to make the perfect Halo film.
This prude,
Like,
his own suit.
You can have like the incredible like opening on the Pillar of Autumn, like just big budget explosions, Master Chief kicking ass and all this stuff. And then in the second act you can have him land on the ring, like, and adapt the Halo level. The level's called Halo in the original game. This lush, vast alien like planet ring thing, and like you can have all the Marines like fighting the grunts and have Master Chief save them, and then like you could have
a war film out of it.
yeah, like Truth and Reconciliation, which is the 4th mission, which is where like the Marines are on like the beach and they're fighting the Covenant, and I had this like vision of like Saving Private Ryan, like you're very on the ground, gritty, like going, like storming the beaches of the Halo ring, and just like showing how like incredibly violent the Covenant are. And then from there, like you could have all the exposition and stuff, Sergeant Johnson over here, and then from there go into 343 Guilty Spark, which is the mission with the flood, and like changing it into like a horror type atmosphere, and I just think it could work so well. Halo, like why hasn't Halo been done in a live action setting? Like it's obvious Hollywood, like the blueprint is there. If The Last of Us can do it, why can't Microsoft do it with Halo?
Very true. Who plays Master Chief though?
Steve Downs, because he never takes his helmet off, so the voice of Master Chief.
Like Transformers when they kept Peter Cullen in it.
That's it. It's obvious.
What about Sergeant Johnson then, if you need a backup face?
I don't know. You're putting us on the spot, Jack. Go on, help us out.
Carl
help us out.
Weathers.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, hell yeah.
That works.
Hey!
Halo, do it.
Scott,
Hi.
what obvious video game movie is Hollywood ignoring?
Well, they kind of tried before. I'm going to class it as ignoring because Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within was not a Final Fantasy movie. But Final Fantasy, I'm mainly in a big old Final Fantasy mood. Very much high on Final Fantasy 16 right now. But that has more than 3 decades worth of stories to pull from, and I don't think you should do the most obvious thing. I don't think you should do a Final Fantasy 7 story. I think you should do something more like Final Fantasy 9, which is a way more straightforward hero's journey thing. I also think it has one of the sweetest ending cutscenes in the entire saga. I'm not going to give away what it is, but it's extremely heartwarming, and tiny little 8-year-old me absolutely popped at the whole thing, thought it was incredible. My little soul filled up, and I loved it. So I would go with the old school Final Fantasies, either Final Fantasy 9, maybe Final Fantasy 6 could be incredible. I think it has to be an animation. Hollywood doesn't like animation, but I think it should be an animation, because then you could mimic more of the art style. The combat could be really, really cool. There's so many different things you could pull from in terms of the iconography, in terms of how sweeping those stories are, and the music is absolutely gorgeous. Like the overworld music in Final Fantasy 6, you could do all the stuff with getting the various airships and everything. It's begging for it. Now, I think Hollywood, if they live actioned it, would butcher the F out of it.
Awful, yeah.
Have you seen the One Piece thing? What's going on? That's Netflix.
I haven't.
But still, but I still feel like Final Fantasy overall is just whimsical AF, and a lot more people are discovering it right now because of how accessible 16 is, and I feel like there are lots of just gorgeous, heartwarming, beautiful little stories back in the day that would be good if they modernized them.
So
give it to Hayao Miyazaki. Just Studio Ghibli it. Just nice little whimsy. Why not?
Why the heck not?
Why not?
So not a direct adaptation of any one game, but a 9 vibe.
Oh, I would go 9 vibes, which I mean 9 vibes are classic Final Fantasy vibes, but I'm loving 6 as well. Give me Final Fantasy 6. But you don't call it Final Fantasy 6 because it would throw everybody off. Just call it Final Fantasy, and you just pull everything from 6. Give me Terra's Journey. That's all I want.